Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Rye Lane.
Hello and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. My name is Alex, joined as always by my co-host and co-pilot in the never-ending flight of the contrary, Julio Oliveira, here today to discuss a pretty recent movie, a rom-com as it were as well, which it seems like it's been a little bit since we've done one of those. We dealt with a lot of serious stuff recently, so it's a nice change of pace.
It's also, I mean, just in general, rom-coms are not what they used to be in their heyday. So, to paraphrase the great Peter Bogdanovich, rom-coms, remember those?
Touche. But we are here today. Julio, I believe this is a patron demand, so we'll get to that in just a moment. But completely background blind on this one. What about yourself?
Yes, I didn't even know what Rye Lane was. Now I know that I'm assuming it's a real place in England. So this is like the equivalent of somebody making a movie called Sixth Street, right? And it's just...
I hope it's nicer than Sixth Street.
Or, whatever the equivalent is, wherever you go to hang out with your girl as you get closer. But no, I didn't know anything. Well, and then once I sat down to watch it, instantly, I'm like, hey, it's that guy. The guy from the last Alien movie, the guy from The Long Walk. Like, you wouldn't know it from this movie, Alex, but that guy's actually pretty good.
The lead here?
Mm-hmm. David Jonsson.
Right on. Rye Lane is a real historic shopping district in Peckham, South London. So there you go.
There you go. To all our British listeners, don't tell us that we don't do our research. On the spot.
Situated in Southwark, connecting Peckham to Peckham Rye Station. All right. A very recent movie, the director of which is younger than both you and I, Julio.
Most people are.
That's true. That's fair. That was unnecessary, but true. Why are we discussing this movie today, Julio?
Our great patron and friend, Jason Nerdrovert, who is, I think that he, among all our listeners, he's one of those champions of indie movies. And then the occasional nostalgic pick like Jonsson checks in. But he usually tries to get us to talk about underseen movies. This one certainly would qualify, would go under that. And, he has his movie blog, and I checked this time and he had an entry for this movie. So it feels like a bit of a personal pick for our friend Jason. So he said, please do it. And I said, of course, you're a patron. It's super fresh. So, Jason, that we're going to be mean to this movie. We're going to pick it apart, as you can only do with a classic rom-com. And then, we'll see. We'll see how it goes in Real Talk. Alex, you didn't even know the guy from Alien and The Long Walk, so nothing? The music, maybe?
Well, there's a pretty substantial cameo.
Is there?
Yes.
Did I miss it?
It sounds like you did.
God. Are you talking about a musical cameo? Are you talking about Shoop?
No.
Fuck. What did I miss?
I guess we'll just have to cover it when we get there.
Okay. Now I'm intrigued. I'm more intrigued than I was during the entire movie.
Yeah, he won. He's a former Best Actor winner.
What?
Mm-hmm. And a fairly egregious one if you go by the episode you and I did on it many, many years ago. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Julio, what's the rating? What's it stand at?
Man, this is talk about egregious, 98% certified fresh in Tomatometer with 137 critics reviews.
My goodness.
98%, Alex. This is insanity. Like, I understand liking the movie and I understand championing it, but this is, I mean, not to us because we know what that number really means, but to the average person, this sounds like, oh, it's an almost perfect movie. 85% on the popcorn meter with only a little over 250 reviews. So again, that just goes to, not that many people, regular people, have seen it. But still 85%. It's a fresh popcorn standing up. So there's quotes aplenty to choose from. You ready to listen to some?
Let's dive in. Let's begin our stroll down Rye Lane, as it were.
Would you chance doing a British accent?
No.
We have
we knowingly have too many Brits that listen to us to do something like that.
They would think it's funny.
I don't know about that, Tim.
And you got to understand, I take cinema tickets seriously. Like, I won't go in once the film started.
You got to respect the code.
All right. Anna Hong from Boston Hassel says, in some ways, Rye Lane is written with the dotted I's and crossed T's of a rom-com arc, but the kind of love is as organic as its ingredients. So this is an organic rom-com. This is not processed junk food.
RFK has not banned it yet.
No. But this is, I think it's the opposite of organic. This is all artificial. I mean, most rom-coms are, just by the nature of the type of movie they are. And that's why the ones that aren't, I guess they stand out. The ones that really feel like you're watching actual people in them. But I don't think that this one qualifies. I think this is the opposite. You're very much watching people in a rom-com go through the motions of a rom-com. So I don't know what Anna Hong was talking about. Next, Zach Pope from Zach Pope Reviews, in all caps, Alex, says, oh my God, Rye Lane, and then lowercase, is beaming with romance, love, laughs, charm, and emotion. A stunning debut that's completely energetic and will make you believe in love, as it teaches you that love may come into your life at the most unexpected times in your life. Zach Pope needs an editor.
Yeah, that was a bit all over the place. The message isn't completely off, but yeah. That was like a Leslie Knope headline. Yes,
but also Leslie Knope after, a little bit of like pulling an all-nighter or something. Like, don't do all caps. If you want to be taken seriously as a critic, I don't think that you should be using all caps in anything, whether it's positive or negative. Zach Pope, I can't take you seriously if you start with the all caps and then, may come into your life at the most unexpected times in your life. That is just autocorrect should have taken care of that.
That's something I would send in a text message, like a casual text message, and it would drive me crazy all day that I use life twice in the same sentence.
Yes. You're a journalist major, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Back when you went to school, they had standards.
It's true.
All right, next. Jim Legzkowski from the Directors Club says, whatever these actors and this filmmaker does next, count me in 100%. This is a Before Sunrise level romantic comedy that is original, hilarious, and sweet without ever becoming sappy. One of the year's most delightful films that I can't wait to see again. Man, classic blunder.
It's Bill Hader and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Let's pump the brakes.
Do not bring up the classics when you're talking about your brand new movie that's still building an audience. Don't put Before Sunrise in my head.
Always a bad idea, because all you're doing is just setting yourself up for failure in that situation.
Yeah, that is, there
was a video game years and years ago on the PlayStation 2 called Killzone that was marketed as the Halo Killer. And you know what it wasn't? The Halo Killer. And the game was okay. I remember playing it once and the AI was pretty bad. But it was one of those things of its legacy of the first one. The response to it was so negative because it was billed as the Halo Killer, So just leave the classics out of this.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. Whether Jim had mentioned it in his quote or not, I already had Before Sunrise in my head because that's just what it's so obvious. It's such an obvious inspiration for the movie. Still, don't put it on print, Jim.
Son, people can see you.
Yes.
And that's 2 Parks and Rec references in fucking the first, 6 minutes of this?
I mean, this movie references a lot of better stuff, so we should as well. We got to do one more. Michael Ward from Should I See It? It says, the performances are authentic and endearing. The film's unique editing style with quick cuts, flashbacks, and asides perfectly captures the characters' thoughts and moods. Alex, what is unique about this editing style? That's how we make movies and TV shows these days.
Well, it's very obvious the lens and like the camera. There's a hefty amount of split diopter in this as well. It really does. It does seem like someone younger than I, you or I, Julio, got a budget and a film camera and was like, all right, now it's time to try everything in the book. Just sampler platter this shit.
But don't try to tell me that this is new. I almost, okay. If it's new to the filmmaker, because obviously it's the first time that they're doing it, then yes, I'm not going to say that they're wrong for doing it and being enthusiastic about it. But the critics should know better. Don't try to tell me that this is something that's completely breaking the mold of the romantic comedy genre. This is, I am you when it comes to horror. This is like when you're talking about Hereditary and like all those movies that people are saying are revolutionary to the horror genre. This is me talking about this movie for the rom-com genre. It's like, yes, it goes through the motions. It has pretty people. It has a soundtrack. That's what a rom-com is. Oh, I have one more, but this is funny. And it's from somebody that we know, Walter Chaw. I mean, not personally, but, he's known around these parts. Walter Chaw from Film Freak Central says, the best romance of the year. It was marketed as a preachy kid romp about being yourself. It's also one of 2023's keenest immigrant melodramas. Now, I read that and I was like, Walter, what? So I clicked on the link. And so the link took me to his top 10 list of 2023. And I guess when you're a critic of the level Walter Chaw, your top 10 is actually like a top 50 because every entry has like 5 different movies. And so for his number 3, the number 3 bracket has a bunch of movies that include Rye Lane, but also the Pixar movie Elemental. And so the way that this goes is, he writes, Ray Allen Miller's hyphenate debut, the charming Jump Tomorrow-esque Rye Lane, thrusts the slightly drippy Dom, David Jonsson, together with bon vivant Yas, Vivian Oparah, both recently single after harrowing breakups. They fall in love as they walk and talk through vividly detailed sets in a London exploding with Jonathan Demme vibrancy and cultural specificity. You could spend days in the environments Miller creates here or in the company of Dom and Yas. You could spend several more unpacking the socio-political complexities buried in the text. Or you could simply let the joy of it wash over you. Hand in hand with Peterson's no less exquisite Elemental, pairing a firecracker from the wrong side of the tracks with a sheltered, privileged young man who falls for her without considering the problems their mixed relationship might pose. The best romance of the year, it was marketed as a preachy kid romp about being yourself. It's also one of 2023's keenest immigrant melodramas. He was talking about Elemental, Alex, which is a very good movie. A movie that got... in the end, it got its praise a little late.
Was that the one my girl Adele was in?
In one of the dubbings. I don't know that she was in the American dub, but she's in Inside Out 2 in the American dub.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes, in Elemental, she's that's the one with like she's like one of the leads in the French version. So get paid.
Elemental is a great movie. Before you watch Rye Lane, watch Elemental. But then watch Rye Lane so you could listen to this episode, and don't let us spoil the twists and turns of this love story. Those were the quotes, Alex. Are you ready to, as you said, take a stroll down Rye Lane?
Rye Lane Market?
Yeah.
Lucky for you, I'm going this way anyway.
Indeed. To begin with, where'd you watch this? I watched this on Roku.
Hulu.
Nice.
And I have the cheap version of Hulu, so that means that I had about 5 commercial breaks. But that's fine because the movie is like barely over an hour.
Yeah, and I lucked out with one of those, Roku viewings where just for whatever reason it didn't refresh, so I had no ads. So that was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, so you were done like before you could finish eating.
Oh, yeah, it was real snappy. Okay. Rain Allen Miller brings us Rye Lane. This was her first film, her first feature film, and as mentioned, released in 2023, starring David Jonsson and Vivian Oparah. In South London, Yas, this is Vivian, encounters David, crying in a gender-neutral bathroom at an art exhibit about mouths organized by their mutual friend Nathan. They meet again in the exhibition and walk through the Rye Lane market together. So that's, you're able to put the pieces together pretty quickly. They bond over Dom's experience with a failed relationship. Dom was recently cheated on by Gia, his girlfriend of 6 years, with his best friend Eric, and has moved back in with his parents. Dom meets with Gia and Eric at a restaurant for the first time since the breakup. Yas impulsively joins them, posing as Dom's new lover. They pretend to have met while singing karaoke and leave Gia bewildered. So, would you call it love at first sight, or just is this even a meet cute? Because he's crying.
It's cringe at first sight.
Yes,
I don't know.
I guess I would be toxic for implying that he comes off as less manly for crying. So, don't want to do that.
It's not about masculinity.
Well, I can't describe anything as like in a public bathroom as a meet cute,
Gross way to start your movie, even if you're using the Steven Spielberg shot from Minority Report where you're going above everything and you see the different. Do you remember Minority Report when the little machines are infiltrating the building, and so Spielberg has this overhead shot where you go and you see what's happening in different rooms? So there are people having sex, people having a fight, people eating, watching TV. It does the same thing here, except that it's just bathroom stalls. Nasty.
Yeah, I really need to rewatch Minority Report. That's here nor there, but it's something I've been thinking about recently.
I mean, it's here, Alex, because it's the same shot. They brought it to us in this rom-com. I thought about that, and I thought about Scream 2, which is a very different movie, but also just as far as openings, memorable
Getting
openings.
Stabbed in the side of the head? Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Well, there were so many different things happening in all these stalls. Like, some people were doing drugs, some people were like throwing up, sleeping, taking selfies. I was like, okay, at some point I'm going to see Omar Epps just leaning against one of the stalls. Not to be, though. Instead, my boy, David Jonsson, crying. And again, nothing wrong with crying. I cry a lot. Half the movies that we watch for the show usually make me cry, the good ones. But this was just not, it's not that he's crying, Alex. It's that he's a whiner. He just whines. Like, he spends half the movie whining, and there's a reason why Friends was not just about Ross. It was like Ross and 5 other people. You can't just have a movie center about the type of character that Ross was, the guy that, has been broken up with and is bummed about things and all this stuff. So, and I've seen this guy, like I said, he steals the show in both Alien Romulus and The Long Walk. And to see him here just so despondent, just such a waste of talent, it was a bummer. You were at least spared that because you didn't know him from anything.
Yeah, that's. I just took this all at face value, or mouth value, I should say.
Did you connect, though? Have you ever cried in a bathroom?
I mean, I'm sure I have. Maybe not like a public bathroom like that, but someone's. Mine, most definitely.
That doesn't count. Has to be stall.
Oh, I see. Not to my recollection, but that certainly could be incorrect. What do you make of Yas here from the jump? She's very
Garden State, you can say it.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl, socially invasive. Very curious about a lot of his quirks, and ask some personal questions right away. But hey, man, they end up in love, so I guess God had a plan on this. But for me, I was just like, all right, pump the brakes, calm down,
go away.
You guys just met. Stare at a mouth together first, and then ask what his favorite slice of pizza is first.
Do you think if Zooey Deschanel and Natalie Portman hadn't already aged out of this type of role, that they would have given it a go? They would have put on a British accent, try to fit in here?
Man, Natalie Portman doing a really bad British accent. You could take the same movie and all that's different is that. And this is going to be like an 8%er. This thing's going to be in the doldrums of the Rotten Tomatoes movies. It'll land on all those lists. That's all you have to change. Script stays exactly the same.
I mean, if you're doing that, you might as well replace David Jonsson with Zach Braff.
No,
for symmetry.
no, because then there'd be people that still pretend it's good for some reason.
Yeah, I don't like this girl. She got on my nerves, and there was a stretch of the movie where I had like a cold chill going down my spine because I thought it was literally going to be before sunrise, and it was just going to be the two of them walking around and talking, and I was like, God, kill me now. But thankfully, there's a few other developments.
We've done that before. It's already done. There are some other developments. One of which is he tells the story of his girlfriend cheating on him. And Julio, this is kind of where we get what one of the gimmicks of the movie is like the living scene when someone's reflecting on something from the past. That, it takes them with. It's a Christmas Carol. You go with the ghost of Christmas past, and so she's like present in these scenes happening. For the younger audiences, click,
God, that's where we have to go.
I'm trying to think of another good example of
Christmas Carol. You had it.
No, I know, but there's some people would probably no. I mean that's perfect for our demographic. You just say Muppets Christmas Carol, they'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But he discovers that his girlfriend's cheated on him with his best friend because he's able to pick his friend's dick out of a lineup, apparently, which. He doesn't explain if he has like a weird dick, like with like, one of the curves in it or like the, some of them have like a bend. Because to quote Dave Chappelle, the immortal words of Dave Chappelle, I couldn't pick my own penis out of a lineup and me and my penis are like this, son. And that's when he does the two fingers intertwined.
Dude.
So that guy, I've seen some of my friends' pieces before, but I certainly couldn't tell you. I couldn't say one from the other.
Certainly not in a blurry picture or in the background. That's fascinating, though. Now I know one thing that Chappelle and I have in common. Because as this was going on, I was thinking, yeah, I don't know that I could recognize anybody's penis in a selfie.
If it's just the dick and balls with like, because I have like a scar on my tummy, so if it was like panned out enough, I'd be like, okay, that's me. But like, if it's just the dick and balls, there's no way. There's no way.
I mean, unless you've already like styled it in a way that is kind of very you.
Yes. Got like the flock of seagulls hair going on with it.
Yes.
So anyway, that caught me off guard. And also during this, he's explaining like I'm with Yas in this scene because he's regaling her with the tale of, getting the right concession order for his girlfriend and she likes it a very certain way. And she's like, this person sounds very annoying. And I could feel the concession worker in this movie theater scene's pain, as we've talked about, the people that want to layer the butter or, do all this kind of crazy shit with their orders or just the right amount of ice.
Yes.
And,
Oh, sorry, not too much ice in the drink, like an inch, specifically an inch.
I was distracted by the neon colors of that movie theater. Is that what movie theaters are like in London? Have I been lied to by pop culture? Because I thought that London was a serious city. They took art seriously.
Brits, let us know. Do your movie theaters look like a laser tag lobby?
Yeah. It's a shame that we never got to see which movie they were going to watch.
They were going to see Before Sunrise.
Oh, man. That I would have had so much respect for the filmmaker. Yes, acknowledge it. That way we all know that we know. We can move on.
His ex-girlfriend, by the way, Gia, played by Karine Peter, which very, like, almost distractingly pretty young lady. But yeah, as we mentioned, they go and crash. Well, he doesn't. He goes to have lunch with his friend and his ex-girlfriend. Yas crashes it. And it's at this time we learn that his best friend's kind of an idiot. Which, to be fair, we all dudes always have like a bro friend like that. But then again, the socially invasive Yas just kind of oversteps her bounds and calls his ex-girlfriend an idiot. And just, the whole situation gets out of control. I think, aren't they at like a Brazilian steakhouse or something?
Yes. Have you been to one of those, Alex? The one with the green light, red light?
I haven't. I've always wanted to go.
God.
Yeah.
How is it that I have been to one of those and you haven't? I've been to one of those twice here in Austin.
My goodness. Fogo de Chao?
No. There's a different one.
Well,
really good. You just crawl out of it. If you're like me, I have no self-control when it comes to meat.
They wheel you out.
Yes. It's like, oh God. Because it's just, they keep coming. And sometimes they don't respect if you have the red light, they still come and they offer. Because, I guess if you're by yourself, they'll respect it. But if you're in a table with friends, you have a red light, but your friend has a green light. So they come with the meat for your friend. And then they look at you like, you sure? So you end up eating everything. And it's, it's delicious, but don't plan on doing anything the next day. Do you like the friend? Do you like, what's his name, Eric? I guess as a character, because I found him so lively that I was almost hoping that the movie would take a pivot and suddenly we started following him and Dom's ex-girlfriend. I was like, okay, now tell me the story of these guys. What do they do for fun after eat a shitload of meat? But instead we kind of left him behind.
Yeah, he's the prototypical best friend in one of these movies that is, dumb and lacks the emotional connection that the main character is looking for. So just based off of, the tried and true rom-coms of film history, you would think he would stick around a bit longer and have a bit more, have a few more one-liners and goofy moments, but no, not to be.
We didn't even get to see his penis.
For shame. After this, Dom and Yas have get lunch at a tortilla shop. Now, Yas reveals she has recently broken up with her boyfriend, Jules, citing his propensity to not wave at tourists on boats as a red flag. Now, before we get there, Julio, the place they eat at, first of all, is called Love Guac. And how he speaks. It's Colin Firth that serves them food.
I thought he looked familiar. I did not realize he was Colin Firth.
Ask him how spicy. It says on a scale of 1 to 10, how spicy is it? And Colin Firth says, do you like spicy food? And he goes, no. An 8 then.
He looks like someone else, and that someone else is American. And so I thought there's no way, because this movie is British. So I'm not rewatching it. I'll look for a screenshot or something. I believe you.
You'll have to take my word for it. Colin Firth makes an uncredited cameo in the film as a tortilla chef at a restaurant called Love Guac, which, again, that's tremendous. But yeah, she reveals about her ex-boyfriend, who's also a super pretentious artist.
Sculpture.
Yeah, he says you don't understand what does he say? That the stress of the artist or the artist's, struggle. That's it. You don't understand the artist's struggle. When Yas recounts that she has forgotten her copy of A Tribe Called Quest's The Low End Theory at Jules' flat, Dom proposes that they steal her record back. Julio, Dom just immediately betraying all we know about him as a character up until this point.
Yeah, he almost does a 180 transformation once they leave that steakhouse. Because suddenly he's laughing and he's just a lot more talkative and a lot less mopey. And I'm like, I welcome the change, but it didn't feel very, very natural, very, what do you call it? Organic, which is what they called it in that quote. Before we move forward, Alex, before we get to the, upcoming big set piece, Rain Allen Miller, I had to look up her name because obviously new talent for me. But do you think Rain Allen Miller is a PJ Hogan fan, or at the very least finds his movies interesting, therefore explaining the insistence on the filmmaker's part to keep putting people singing in the movie? When they walk into the steakhouse, there's some dude inexplicably singing the restaurant's jingle or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell you that doesn't happen here in Austin. And Austin is the live music capital of the world. So you think that if they're going to have the busboy singing, it would be here. And then the story that Yas tells of how they met, how her and Dom met, the fake story of how they hooked up, takes place at a karaoke place.
And then they end up later in the movie actually singing karaoke.
Yeah. It was look, you got to walk before you run. You start with ABBA and Toni Collette, and then slowly you get to the point where you can just throw random music and random people singing throughout your movie. But it just felt like a little try hard. I mean, you know how I am with the karaoke trope in rom-coms specifically. So
yeah.
I was in pain through a lot of this movie because it's not just limited to karaoke. It's just anytime that you think that somebody singing badly is funny, it probably isn't. So here's some advice for you young filmmakers. Cut that shit out. Get rid of all the bad singing scenes in your movie. It'll be shorter. It'll move faster. It'll be funnier.
Here I go. Again, girls, what's my weakness? Okay, then, chilling.
They visit Jules' mother's house in order to retrieve a key to his flat. But when Dom is caught looking for the key in a panty drawer by Jules' mother, he is kicked out. So a classic, misunderstanding here, Julio, in the worst way possible. But also he's drunk, Julio, because they're having a cookout, and perhaps an uncle or, like a cousin just keeps feeding him alcohol. And he doesn't seem like a drinker to me, so he's obviously mumbling and stumbling a bit at this point.
More bad singing also, because they start playing with his Spotify and playing really sad songs, and then some dude stands up and starts singing. It was like Michael Cera in Superbad. It was just, but see, that is the unicorn, right? That's bad singing. That's funny. It's just so bad. But this guy is not really committing to the bit. The guy that the uncle or whoever that's singing is just like, it's not good, but it's not so bad that so outrageously bad that would be funny. And it's not even that anybody else at the party joins him. It's just awkward. It's just this musical sequence that just lays there. It's not good.
So he's kicked out. Outside, Yas admits that she started hanging out with Dom at first because she felt sorry for him, but came to enjoy their time together and even turned down a job interview that afternoon. That is not fiscally responsible.
They have a stronger economy over there, Alex.
Tell people, man, you always go to a job interview, even if you don't want it, just to get the experience, or maybe they'll offer you some crazy money or some shit. But yeah.
Bring him along. Don's not doing anything.
Yeah, if it's the first round of an interview, it's going to be 45 minutes max, so he can just hang out.
You already took him to so many other places.
After one of Jules' mothers lends her moped to Yas, she and Dom go to Mona's karaoke bar for Jules' key. In exchange for the key, they must sing karaoke. So this part, though, felt a little, it's just fresh off our recording of it, so it felt a little after hours-y of just like these random characters we're getting to meet that we know aren't going to come back into the fray at all.
Scorsese is shocked, appalled at the comparison. This is, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on PJ Hogan. This is my best friend's wedding. This is
oh, good call.
Yeah, when Nikki, Cameron Diaz, starts singing and everybody's like, you suck. But then she gets into it, and then eventually she wins them over. That's this, except that it's Shoop. And unfortunately, Alex, you've seen Deadpool, so maybe it also reminded you of Deadpool. But as soon as I heard Shoop, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the opening of the first Deadpool movie.
Okay. I'm not gonna go there, but
I almost sent you a link to the YouTube clip of the opening of Deadpool.
Have we reached Scream 2 Jerry O'Connell singing depths yet, or are we not quite there?
Oh, dude. The Jerry O'Connell thing hurts you more than it does me, so I think you're the one that would be the better judge of that. I was already curled in a fetal position watching the movie because it was just so bad. I knew it was coming too. From the moment that they say that she works at the karaoke, I was like, this is it. They've been prepping the audience for this moment. And I'm sure that if you're into it, this is what you came for, right? You're like, all right, are we actually going to see them sing? And of course we do. And it's just, before he even gets, because Dom ends up singing in the beginning and then she joins, but before he even gets on stage, we have a shot of some dude that's singing before him. He's also pretty awful. It's like, there's nothing good about it. I wish that they had at least one person in the movie that could sing. And so we had at least that little bit of solace. But no, it's just awful singing nonstop. Do you think they have chemistry too, Alex? Because I think that would maybe carry me through the cringe factor if I could believe that these two actually have, a good back and forth. But most of the time it feels to me like they're both reciting quippy dialogue, but not really to each other. They're just more doing it for the audience.
Yeah, by the time I really buy into their chemistry, there's like 30 seconds left in the movie. So there's a lot of this kind of young love, Gen Z style of flirting that I don't understand. So I feel like unfrozen caveman lawyer. I'm like, your new world frightens and scares me. Frightens and confuses me. So yeah, I don't, maybe just not for me, but yeah, to your point, I don't know. I've had some interesting encounters over the course of a night, but never one that I was so into that I was like, yeah, we'll go break into your ex-boyfriend's place to steal a vinyl record.
By the way, 2 Scream 2 references in less than an hour. That's impressive.
It's fresh on everyone's mind, not necessarily Scream 2, but Scream. Is that new one came out or is coming out? Everyone got to see Skeet Ulrich at the premiere.
Did they?
Yeah, he was there. He looked good.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I will tell you that Google spoiled the movie for me. Because
Oh, no.
Yeah, I asked, don't trust their fucking AI response thing. I just wrote, what's the rating of the new Scream? And then it gave me the answer, but also gave me a screenshot of a video that talked about the movie. Like, I didn't ask anything that had to do with that. I just asked for the rating. But I was like, oh, and here's a link to a YouTube video that talks about the movie. And of course, that fucking screenshot, the thumbnail was a spoiler for the identity of the killer. So now I know who the killer is in Scream 7.
Shoot.
Shoop, even.
Shoop. Bringing it back here. So yeah, in order to get the key, they have to sing karaoke because, of course, that's their side quest for this part of the story. They sing Shoop, and Yas kisses Dom afterwards. Breaking into Jules' flat, Yas is furious that Jules' new girlfriend can leave her menstrual cup out when he would not allow her to do so.
I'm sorry, this is one of the times that I actually laughed in the movie. Just the fact that they put the cup on top of the rice, and then later the guy goes, "What the fuck is in my rice?"
I dated a girl it was about 10 years ago, probably. That was the first time I ever saw one of those. Because I don't know. I mean, it's still funny. That's one of the cliches that at least a lot of men I know, it's still that like uncharted territory that a lot of men don't know how that works. And so I just remember the girl I was dating, I was at her apartment. I was like brushing my teeth before bed, and I was like, what is this thing? I was like picking it up, and I was like, does this measure your mouthwash or something? And she just started laughing, and she explained it. I was like, oh, well, that's new to me. So yes, that's kind of, whenever I see one of those, that's immediately what I think of.
Well, I'm glad you had a mature reaction to it, because
yeah,
I've heard stories of people that just freak out and completely kill the mood. And I was like, dude, come on. At least my recollection in my life experience is that there was a time when I was just excited about the possibility of having sex that I wouldn't be freaked out by anything.
Oh, dude. Well, to me, it's always the thing of like the dudes who would freak out about that are the same people that would like have a conniption if they got a girl pregnant. So my thought is always just like, you should probably be happy that's happening, dog, because the opposite is not what you want. So yeah, she gets mad and sticks it in the leftover rice, which a complete psychopath has rice in a bowl uncovered in the fridge. You know how quick that shit's gonna dry out?
It's a delicacy, Alex. Did you catch that they name drop Peru?
Yes, they're talking about what food they're gonna get.
Yeah. And then she says that this guy's new girlfriend, she says, I wrote it down.
She says I could murder for ceviche.
Yes, she says not for ceviche. She said I could murder a ceviche.
Oh.
So she's going to get the ceviche and murder it with her mouth, I'm assuming.
Nepalese or Peruvian?
I could murder a ceviche right now.
Again. Man. The idea of getting good ceviche in London seems very foreign to me, but who knows,
So this is a collection of bits, right? Like the cup on the rice, and Yas.
They have to hide because he comes back.
Yeah, she's wearing her the other girl's underwear, and this guy. I mean, everybody here is a character in this movie, but the ex-boyfriend, the sculptor, I think he's probably the most unrealistic or the most cartoonish of them all. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like he was the one that was least likely to be a real person?
Well, we saw him in some of the flashbacks, but he still is not. He's very much a caricature of like a hipster. Because there's the part where he takes his jacket off and has another jacket on underneath it. And then he talks about knowing how to fight, and he does like the snake or the crane stance. And yeah, he's a very troubled artist. And he has the pompous head tilt down or the turn away. He's got that whole movement down. But what we learn here is that Jules reveals that he was the one who broke up with her, and it wasn't the other way around. And they accidentally like break a piece of his art on the way out, and it almost turns into like a fucking Pink Panther Clouseau thing or like a Mr. Bean segment of him just breaking all the art in the apartment. Fortunately, it gets stopped before it goes too far. But yeah, they get in a fight after this because he's mad that she lied, and it turns out to be all for naught because she throws her record away.
Were you disappointed that since she had lied about the story of how she had broken up with her boyfriend, because in fact it was her boyfriend broke up with her, so that means that the story of her giving him a blowjob and then dumping hummus on his crotch, like that was all a lie? Did it bum you out that that was not a real story?
I guess. I clearly didn't have as strong a reaction to that scene as you did, Julio.
Well, she described it in vivid detail when she's talking about like, oh, that guy's gonna be scrubbing what's in hummus?
Chickpeas?
Chickpeas. He's gonna be scrubbing mashed chickpeas off his pubes. I was like, that is gross, but it's also very colorful.
God, that would smell horrendous.
I think that the thing is that guy deserved it because he already had come across as such an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, good that happened to him. And then it turns out that no, that's not what happened. So, bummer. And then because it's a rom-com and because we're heading towards the third act, they have to get into a fight. Like you said, you lied to me and you're not emotionally available. And it's just so dumb that they've gone through so much. And this is the thing that just makes them break. Did you buy their breakup, so to speak?
We're all still on the same day at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for that reason, yes. Because I would be like, I'm tired. I want to go home and just find a reason to get out of there. Months pass. I thought it was like a week. Months pass with the two going on dates with other people and struggling to forget each other. Yas finally lands a job as a costume designer on a film set while Dom moves out of his parents' house, finally.
Yeah, there's no way all that happens in 1 week, man.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't know about months, though. I thought maybe a month.
Years pass.
Years pass. It's the Cold War. While attending Nathan's next art exhibit about anuses, to be fair, it's all cheek action. There's no like, you're not seeing a bunch of fucking buttholes on the screen. But
we don't know, Alex.
That's true. We don't see the whole exhibit.
Yeah, we see 2 walls, I think.
And the girl that Dom is dating is one of the butts, and bravo, young lady.
She's very proud of it. She's determined to make everybody watch the piece and know that it's her.
Which does kind of kill some of the like lecherous nature towards it, because it's like, okay, we get it. Don't gotta flaunt it.
Can you not watch me while I stare at this piece of art?
That's what I do. I just stand 20 feet away, staring intently at you, staring at my butt. While attending Nathan's art exhibit about anuses, Dom receives a phone call from Yas, who makes a grand romantic gesture by waving to Dom from a boat on the River Thames. Thames?
British.
Yeah, fucking hell. He waves back at her through the window and runs to meet her because he waves at boats.
Chekhov's boat, Chekhov's wave.
Chekhov's wave, I like that one. After waiting for the boat to land, the two embrace and passionately kiss.
Were you surprised that he was still friends with the 2 people that low-key ruined his life? Dom, I mean.
Kind of. I don't know if I would still do that.
Like, they're like buddies. They're like joking around and talking about that wild night months ago, I guess, when this random girl crashed their lunch together and all that. And I was like, that was your best friend and that was your girlfriend and they did you wrong repeatedly. It was weird.
Chris Farley in Wayne's World 2. I got no place else to go.
I guess.
It's Thames, by the way. I had to look it up.
All right. We'll retroactively edit it. We'll put that over all the other times that you said the river.
Don't want any redcoats coming at me over that, So, yeah. It's not quite before sunset because we know that they're like together and they don't have to leave each other at the end of this. But I mean, to the movie's credit, that like that's it. Get out of the theater. Like they kiss, it's over. But it also like begs the question of how often are they going to fight? Are they both, healed from the previous conflict? It is definitely a movie ending in the sense of everything just has a bow put on it, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, because it's one thing to be somewhat smitten with this stranger that you spent a very memorable day with. But that's it. That's not normal life. Normal life is made of regular happenings, routines, 9 to 5s, just not wacky adventures where you break into your ex's house and you try to steal a key from your ex's mom and all that stuff. That's just like movie shit. So the good rom-coms have all that stuff, but also have people that feel like, oh yeah, underneath all the wackiness, they're connecting in a way that, yeah, I can see how they would have a normal relationship once this is over. But that's not the case with these two. These two were like in a very heightened emotional state to begin with. Then they met, they got into adventures, and then inevitably they got into a fight and split. And then they haven't seen each other for months, and now I have to believe that, oh yeah, no, it's a happy ending. They're going to make it work. I was like, man, come on.
Well, Julio, that's why it's a movie. One that was procured by Disney, no less, for distribution in America.
Really? When you hit play on Roku, do they have the Mickey as a sailor? What's it called? Sailor Jim? What's his? Steamboat Willie?
Steamboat
Yes.
Willie? Sailor Jim? God. That sounds like a derogatory slur for a homosexual from like the 1960s.
Okay, well now you're just putting way too much of what I said.
Sailor Jim. I'm sorry. I get passionate about my Disney stuff sometimes. I take that back. It wasn't just for distribution in America. That was in the UK as well. So that's why it's Disney Plus is everything now, but you can watch it through Disney Plus. Well, Disney Plus is Hulu, right?
Yeah, through Hulu. Yeah. I have them separate because I didn't merge them, but yeah.
I have the one right now that because my parents' cable provides them with My Disney. That's the app. And My Disney is a hub of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN. And that's where we're heading.
What else do you need?
Yeah, I mean...
HBO?
Well, that's going somewhere else. And then
yeah,
Netflix is already feeling the press. And yeah, Amazon, man. That's... Anyway, Rye Lane.
Back to Great Britain.
Yes, back to Great Britain. If you don't have Disney, you can watch this on Roku. But Julio, that concludes our movie in a most curt and I would say wholesome fashion. It just neglects to address like the very real issues and the plethora of lies that were told to each other upon their first meeting.
They don't really know each other.
They do not. That's kind of the whole reason they fight is because I don't know you at all.
Yep. I think that this movie maybe would have ended on a higher note if they hadn't kissed throughout the movie. And this is the ending is the first time they kiss. It would still be bullshit, but at least I was like, oh yeah, it's special, right? But they kissed halfway through the movie, so not even that. I was just like, next. No, actually, my main thought was like, holy shit, there's like 7 minutes of credits. This movie ends at 1 hour, 17 minutes.
God bless.
Yeah.
That's in that Mask of the Phantasm territory. Yeah.
It's almost as romantic as Mask of the Phantasm. Lots of lies being told between Bruce and...
All right, let's not say things we can't take back.
Anyway, that was Rye Lane. That was two people that have zero knowledge of London talking about Rye Lane. Hopefully we didn't offend anybody. You ready for Real Talk?
Let's get on the boat and head over to Real Talk.
Let's do it.